I'm back. Let's talk about Argylle, I guess. If you're from the Celeste video, I actually talk about movies, so yeah, let's just talk about Argylle. Let's just get this out of the way. I did not like this very much, so I'm gonna talk about why I did not like this very much. Yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so I don't know if people are talking about this because no one really cares about this movie, but the editing is really messy in this one. I really don't pay attention to editing in films as much unless there's some nice sound editing or good cuts. It's a really tough job to do, but I sadly never really noticed good editing. But in this movie, man, the editing is really bad, and honestly, it makes me appreciate good editing in films a lot more. The opening fight just has a lot that it's trying to do, but the editing really fails at everything it's trying to accomplish. Okay, so one of the first fights is on this train, and the spy is fighting, and he keeps switching back and forth between himself and the book version of himself. It could work, but the movie never really is consistent in what it's trying to say. They use this ugly blinking effect that they have in between cuts, and it just ends up looking really weird in the final version. It also sometimes knows that it can't get away with too many cuts, so it'll just stay on the spy in real life for an extremely long time after so many flashes of the same annoying blink transition before, switching back after a long period of time. It just makes it feel really off. It's extremely bad at communicating the different realities we're shifting through, which the movie does a lot. Sometimes it can be used to have cool effects, like this one scene where three people are talking about the same thing and the movie switches between their dialogue to make a full conversation. But it just feels really off because some of the cuts are not spliced together well, and the movie cuts off characters when they're talking. Along with the pretty bad editing, there is also a lot of bad CGI. Every time I cover a blockbuster, I feel like I talk about the bad visuals, and I'll probably stop doing it eventually, but again, this just looked really ugly. The cat especially, it looks kind of uncanny. But to its credit, they have some visually creative moments, usually the scenes where our main character is writing the book. It has some creative moments to break the fourth wall, like where she rewrites a section and the fireworks get reversed, or when she gives up on the book and the whole background fall apart, like The Matrix or something. Those parts look pretty cool, but other than that, a pretty ugly movie with pretty bad editing. I might as well talk about the acting too. The main actress was fine, I guess. She's pretty good at playing the main character, Ellie. I think that's her name. She's pretty good at being anxious and more relatable to the audience. But this character has so much more stuff the movie needs her to be, and when it comes to that stuff, it really fails. She's got to be more serious later on, and it absolutely does not work with her performance. It just feels overly goofy. The other main character was fine. He was okay. I like when he dressed up as Ladybug, and that's about it. Samuel L. Jackson shows up a bit, and he was pretty funny. He doesn't really do anything throughout the movie, but towards the end, they hype up sending him a letter as the fate of the world, and he's just watching basketball the whole time. Like, that was actually a pretty funny joke. Him also screaming whenever the letter got canceled was also pretty funny. I'm not sure if it was meant to be taken seriously, but he did a pretty good job at playing the silly guy. Walter White was here too, and he's pretty good. He's really silly and goofy and not threatening as a villain at all, but he's just fun to watch, so it's fun. I don't mind. For the most part, when watching the film, I thought it was bad, as I've said before, but it wasn't that awful in my opinion. Plus, there were some cool twists that I'll talk about later. Then the last 40 minutes happened, and oh my god, I haven't seen something this bad in a bit, because genuinely they got almost every single element wrong here. The action is terrible, they make it really goofy, which is something I'm usually a fan of. I love stuff like Bollywood films where they make it as ridiculous and nonsensical as possible. It's great because it's super creative, but here it just feels lame more than anything. There's a fight scene with smoke bombs everywhere with them dancing, which just feels so lame and boring. The colors are also so ugly to look at. The poor editing and bad camera shots make this scene barely readable. It's just so boring. The last 40 minutes just keep going. When I thought it was over, they just threw a new action scene that got more and more boring and uncreative. Like, the oil scene sucks. It's just them slipping on oil for like 3 minutes straight. I will admit though, I did like when she started skating on the oil. That one worked a lot more on the goofy tone. It was fun and pretty cool, not gonna lie. But then after that, they just keep on going. They try to send the epic file, but then Bryan Cranston shows up, and then they fight him, then they leave, then another person shows up, then they fight them for like 10 minutes, then the fight ends, then they fight another person. This whole climax goes on for like 40 minutes, and there's even more setup before, but none of it feels worth it. It's hollow and empty and actually just soul-sucking to watch. It's horrible. I could not stand it. This is easily the worst part of the movie, and I just wanted to say that before I actually get into the twist for the movie. So if you actually want to see this movie, then you can skip to the conclusion. There should be timestamps, because this movie actually does center around the twist a lot. So yeah. Alright, last chance to skip to the end. This is a big spoiler for the movie, unless you saw the discussing film tweet like 2 years ago. Okay, so one of the positives I gotta give to the movie are its twists, mostly. Argylle throws a lot of twists at you, so I guess I'll try to cover them in order, at least to my memory. I'm not looking up a synopsis. One of the first twists is that Bryan Cranston is her father, which is extremely stereotypical and kinda dumb, but the really intense music made it pretty fun, and someone in the theater gasped really loudly, and that was pretty funny, so I mean, this one was alright. The main big twist in the movie was twist that our main character was actually Argylle the whole time, and I think it's actually kind of an interesting twist. It requires a lot of explanation, but it's fine. I like the moment. It makes the movie a lot more rewatchable when you rewatch the movie. It's foreshadowed a lot throughout the film. The characters are always slightly off all the time, so that twist helps a lot. But after this, they just start throwing more and more twists, like her actually being an evil spy for the bad guys, and then it turns out she was normal the whole time and just acted evil to send the files to Nick Fury. I really hate this because the movie already had a good twist, but once they get this rush, they absolutely fumble the bag by taking all the impact of the twist away by just hitting you with more and more lame twists that are also very predictable. Like, obviously she wasn't evil, but I kind of wish they just kept her evil because that could have been interesting. It was, instead of transitioning to those god-awful last 40 minutes, they could have done something new. I almost forgot to mention this, but one of the friends she killed off in the book shows up again at the end for no reason as another twist, which I didn't like. I didn't need to know who wrote that fan letter. It already has a payoff with her fake killing someone. They really could have done something cool with the twist, but they really overstay their welcome a lot. So yeah, in conclusion, 2024 is off to a great start. High 3 out of 10. Bad movie, don't watch it. Boo, Rotten Tomatoes. Thanks for watching. If you couldn't tell, I was sick the whole time recording this, so yep. I think I'm doing an Oscar video soon, so that's what should be next. See you next time. This is an epic outro.